So I heard rumblings of an Uber Captain Vor that released with this update. Janus-maxxing Vor they call him, but I'll continue calling him Uber Captain Vor because the Path of Exile player in me. So he's like a secret, really hard version of the boss, much like the Uber Fervon tank that I added a couple months ago, or the Uber Fragmented one they added back in, I don't know, whenever they added him. But yeah, as soon as I heard this, I was like, I gotta try this because, I mean, I like Captain Vor. He's a pretty cool guy. He has some like really cool lines, so I want to see his new lines and experience his boss fight in the truest form, fit for the legendary rank 3 that I am. Now I'm not going into this completely blind. I do know that you can health tank him, and he does a lot of electricity damage, so putting on lightning rod is actually like viable in here. So I'm using Clorbo for this. Not for any particular reason, mostly because I already have triple Umbra on him, and I could just slap on like Adaptation, Lightning Coil, Arcane Guardian, whatever, and then call it a day. This is the build I have right now on the first attempt. I'm going to be bringing in the Cheto Prime, the Epitaph Prime for priming, and the Coda Haruto because it increases your max HP and gives you lifesteal. This is the Coda Haruto build I'm running. It is a corrosive, like melee light attack spam build. That's basically what I'm going to be doing. So when you're going through the mission, right before you get to the boss room, there will be an Orc cipher like this. You have to input this code right here. It's going to be the same code every time. So just put in this code, little console will go blue, and you'll hear this roar that sounds like the Minnesota Dogman or something. That's how you know that you have the Uber boss fight. So at first I was like, this isn't too difficult. He doesn't really do that much damage, mainly because I prepared for it, but like he also doesn't really do that much damage. I could just like melee spam him to death, and he didn't really have that much damage attenuation, so I kind of chewed through his first phase. So after the first phase, he spawns a bunch of ads that you just kill. They're all Xmas, so just kill them. His second phase is mostly the same as the first. I didn't really notice anything different. It's just, survive and melee him to death. So, yeah, it's mostly the same thing. So after the first two phases, you go through this jumping electric puzzle, and man, this thing was some kind of bullshit, let me tell you. So if you touch even one of the electricity thingies, you have to start over from the beginning of your hallway. But the problem is, it spawns it at the end of the hallway. So you have to like kind of time it in a way that you can react to what the electric thing is, and then perform the maneuver needed to go through the doorway while it's spawning, because it spawns in the doorway. It's kind of bullshit. Also, I hope that made sense. But yeah, it's pretty bullshit. Either way, you make it through this jumping or whatever maze puzzle, and then you get to the final two phases. This big room with a bunch of circular platforms in it. So he magnetic procs you a lot in here, so you can't really use abilities unless you bring Arcane Nullifier, I guess. Then you might be able to use abilities. I don't know if he has like something extra that prevents you from using abilities, and it drains your energy as well. He spawns a bunch of lightning AoEs that knock you down. I couldn't put Prime Sure-Footed on because I didn't have no space and I didn't want a Forma, so I just dealt with it. Overall, you just kind of like follow him around and just, DPS him down. It's not that bad. Just survive. This last phase, well, the transition period between the last phase, I got royally screwed on because these turrets. My Cheto Prime did no damage against them. Epitaph Prime, no damage. So I was like, okay, what's happening? And then I die to the turrets because I didn't look at my health. So that's the first attempt. I'm going to have to reassess the situation. So here's how I changed my build. I put on Arcane Grace instead of Bellicose, since you're not really going to be using abilities that much. They're not too important. And then I switched out the Augment for Energy Nexus, just so I can get some energy regen, mostly for phase 1 if anything. I opted not to use Arcane Nullifier, but I mean, if you want to use it, it might come in handy. Also, I forgot to mention, I have Magus Elevate on my operator, which allows me to regen health if I go in and out of my operator, which will help out a ton, you will see in this upcoming boss fight. Alright, with my build reassessed, I go back in for attempt number 2. I'm going to play my custom Captain Vor metal song in the background during this because, you know, I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, the first and second phases go pretty swimmingly, nothing too bad, mostly more of the same as the first attempt. So, yeah. I get through the awful lightning parkour maze and get to the third phase. It goes about the same too, nothing too much different. You just go around and chase them, DPS them down, stay alive. So here we are back at the cannon phase. This is what got me last time. So I didn't really know what to do in this phase. I thought originally this was a just wait around, survive phase, and the cannons would eventually disappear because my guns weren't doing any damage. Much the same as the first attempt. So I kind of just like waited around and just shot at the cannons until my ammo ran out. I eventually tried to melee the cannons with my Koto Haruto, and it seemed to do a lot of damage. So I just kind of like scuffed around and tried to melee them as best as I could until they went down, and well, what do you know, they went down. So I get to the fourth phase and it seems to be mostly the same as the third phase, except there's like only one big platform in the center for like a lot of the fight, so you have to survive. As long as you can survive, you'll be fine. It's mostly the same. You just like DPS them down and, you know, stay alive. And with that, Uber Captain Vor is down. So if I were to give any tips on this boss fight, it would be definitely play a health tank that doesn't rely on abilities. If you have the Koto Haruto, it is really good for this boss fight, or even just a regular Haruto. It increases your max health and gives you lifesteal on hit. I'd say definitely mod for corrosive, because Captain Vor, I'm pretty sure, is weak to corrosive. And those cannons also seem to be weak to corrosive because my Haruto was modded for corrosive and my other guns weren't, and the Koto Haruto was the only thing actually killing those cannons. So I'd say bring in a primary that does a lot of damage and mod it for corrosive just for those cannons. I'd say put on Arcane Grace and Arcane Guardian. You could swap out Guardian for Nullifier if that works. I don't know if it works, but you can try it. You can get Arcane Grace and Arcane Guardian extremely easy right now if you played the Operation 8 Claw event. It takes like 6 Steel Path runs in order to get a maxed out Arcane Grace, for example. If you have Magus Elevate on your Operator, that comes in handy a lot. You can just swap in and out of your Operator when you're not nullified, and then you can just regain your health back. That's another form of health regen, which is really important for this fight. But yeah, put on all the health tank mods, adaptation, lightning rod, all that stuff, and then yeah, you should be good for the boss fight. It's not that hard. You just have to mod and prepare properly for it. As a reward, you get this Janus key Sumdali to put on the front of your ship, and you get 6 glyphs, like exclusive glyphs that you can wear. But anyway, that should be it for this video. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you like my content, and I will see you in the next one.